Hello everyone, welcome to Edubbey Global Solution. Today we'll be discussing microeconomics and macroeconomics. Our first slide defines macroeconomics and macroeconomics. Macroeconomics means the decision made by individual and businesses, as it is shown here. Why macroeconomics is the study of decision made by government in a country. Moving to the next slide, where we have the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. Based on the meaning, macroeconomics is the study the economic problem at individual level, as it was defined earlier, while the macroeconomic studies problem at the level of an economy as a whole. Now, based on determine the output and price of an individual firm. Microeconomics just based on individual, while macroeconomics determine the aggregate output and general price level in the whole economy, determine the whole and aggregate. Now, based on tools, macroeconomics demand and supply are its own main tools, while macro its own tools is aggregate demand and aggregate supply. They are its own main tools. Now, based on dependence, macroeconomics assume the micro variables to be constant as demand of households, supply of firms, prices of individual products, etc. While macroeconomics assume the macro variables to be constant as national income, consumption, savings, etc. Moving to the next slide, where we have an activity. Which topic is included in microeconomics? This question is nice. I think it came from your past question. Now, which topics is included in microeconomics? According to our definition, micro deal with individual, and it also include demand and demand of individual. Now we have a lot of options here: balance of payments, inflation, economic goods, and elasticity of demand. Of course, elasticity of demand is the correct answer. Now, moving to the next slide, where we have the decision makers in micro and macroeconomics. We have the decision makers in micro and macroeconomics to be: number one, households, firms, and government. Now we have household. They are also known as consumers, workers, etc. They always seek low price goods, low price and good quality products. Now we have firm. Firm, they are the business concerns that produce goods and services and also employ workers and other factors of production. Now we move to government. They are the system that rules the country or region. They also produce some products and regulate private sectors. Moving to the next slide, where we have the diagram representation of decision makers in micro and macroeconomics. As you can see, we have under microeconomics, we have individual, household, and the product firm. While under macroeconomics, which study a whole country, we have it as where we have gross domestic product and gross national product. Moving to the next slide, where we have an activities. I think this is also part of your past question. What is an example of macroeconomic aim? Macro, now the one that study a whole. Now let's check the options. To create and maintain full employment, is that the answer? Let's check forward. To provide consumers with greater information when buying goods and services, that's no. To improve efficiency in the manufacturing sector of the economy, that's not the answer. To encourage greater occupational mobility of labor? No. The answer is to create and maintain full employment. Now, moving to the next slide, we also have one of your past question here. Which topic is not included in microeconomics? Remember, we have micro to be dealing with individual, while macro is dealing with the government as a whole. Now, which topic is not included in microeconomics? We have consumer demand. Is it so? No. Consumer demand is included in microeconomics. We have forms of competition. No. Economics of scale. No. We have inflation to be our correct answer, because inflation is under macroeconomics. Now we move to the next activities, which is also part of your past question. Which relationship will be studied by an economist specializing in macroeconomics? Macro, that study a whole. Now, the relationship between the wage rate of worker and demand for labor in an occupation, that's related to micro, so that's not our answer. The relationship between the price of a product and the quantity demanded by a consumer? No, this one is also talking about an individual. Now, the relationship between the inflation rate and the unemployment rate, this sounds nice, should be our answer, but let's check the last option. The relationship between the output of a firm and its cost of production? No. The relationship between the inflation rate and the unemployment rate. This will be the end of our class. Stay tuned to our website www.edubbey.com.